Good morning, good day, and good afternoon. My name is Wardy Ward, and you're now listening to What's Up with Ward, the podcast. I'm just another black man caught up in the mix, trying to make a dollar out of 15 cents. I want to remind everybody, hit that like, subscribe, and follow button so you can stay up on the latest episodes of What's Up with Ward. Today, I'm very excited to interview our guest today because she's someone who can help everyone improve basically everything they do. I'm going to let her explain a little bit more about this. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Charelle Griffith to the What's Up with Ward podcast.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here today.
Yes, I'm glad you're here too as well. Now, people may not know this, but you're not in America. Where are you
No,
at? Where are you located right now?
I am in the UK and I'm specifically in Nottingham, which is in the middle of the country.
Okay, so not is that over there where Harry Potter lives? Is that where that is?
No, it's where Robin Hood lives.
Oh,
That's normally if I tell an American, that's normally they're like, "Is that where Robin Hood's from?" I'm like, yeah, that's the only reason people know it.
okay, yeah. So for people who are listening on the podcast, they can't see, but she has at least, I'm counting 450,000 books behind her. So she's definitely smart. She reads all those things. So you're definitely a book reader, I see.
Yeah, I am a book reader, and I really account where I've got to in my life being from making a choice around 7 years ago to really invest in my personal development and start reading books.
Is there any particular thing you read or you just any book you can get your hands on?
No, so I'm very much focused on like personal development, self-improvement. So basically in 2016, I started a non-fiction book club for women all around those types of books. And I still run it now. So it's called Propel Hers Book Club. It is online. We meet on the first Monday of every month. And so
Wow.
that's 7 years of
Okay.
running that. And
7 years.
then
Wow.
yeah, it's a lot of books. And then I've been blogging by myself outside of that. So yeah, I'm definitely nonfiction. I can't remember the last time I picked up a fiction book. Everyone tells me off, but I just like to keep on growing.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I definitely respect that. So tell us a little bit about what do you do for what problem do you solve for people in the world?
So I am a marketing strategist and a business mentor specifically for solo coaches, consultants, and online service providers. So my background had been in marketing. And actually, it was through my book club that I started to meet quite a lot of female entrepreneurs who were really smart, had a job probably in the city because I was living in London at the time. And then they started a business and they were struggling to get the traction to be able to like make people know them, to get the sales. And I realized that my whole background in marketing made those things seem really obvious and simple to me. And I couldn't
Yeah.
understand why people struggling. But I have a real passion, like through everything I've always done, which is about like fulfilling your potential. And so it really frustrated me to see people who had this drive to want to be their own boss and run a business by themselves, but
Yeah.
not see those rewards. So that's why I've like really focused on the solopreneurs. That's where my heart lies.
Mm. Now, since you did all this self-revelation on your own, did you have a mentor to help you with this, or was it just the education of yourself?
No, it's mainly been the education of myself.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you recommend that someone get a mentor when they're first starting out? Say
Yeah,
a novice?
I mean, I think it all depends on the person. I think the biggest thing for some people is about like accountability. And so
Mhm.
some people I think are like I think I'm very fortunate. I'm definitely in the minority in terms of people that can read things and implement it and action it. And it's the
Mm.
same as even if like you pay to do courses. My thing is, are you getting that knowledge and then applying it, or is this sitting on your computer and you're not reopening it? I think you have to be really honest with yourself about how much accountability you need in your life to take action. The more accountability you need, the more important it is to get external help. The
Mhm.
more you actually are like self-aware and can motivate yourself and inspire yourself and keep taking action, then you possibly can do it without having a mentor.
Ah, okay. Well, let me ask you this. Say I want to start in the field. I come to you. What's the next step? What do we do? I just reach out to you and say, here it is. Make it happen.
Yeah, so I mean, I always say to people like I need to work out where you are, and then my other biggest thing is where you want to be. Like I
Mm.
definitely see myself as someone that is helping you to get really clear on your goals. I think nowadays we live in a world where if you spend more than 10 seconds online, 75 people are telling you what you should be and what you should do and what success looks like. So my
Yes.
thing is actually like try and strip that away. Let's get really clear on the life you want to create. Then make sure you have a business model that is going to support actually creating that life, and then we work out how to get the business from where it is right now to where you want it to be.
Mm. And you can do this with any business.
So I specialize in people that are doing a service online. That's my thing. Like, I mean, obviously I could do it for more, but I think my my real passion is if you are using your knowledge, because obviously I'm a geek. So I like working with smart people where I'm like,
Yes.
you've got knowledge and I can tell like you want to share that and you want to bring that to the world. And how do we get that in a way that actually enables you to live a life and generate money around that passion?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's say, what if a person is not motivated or has poor time management skills? I know I'm guilty of that. I try to do a million things in a day, and I just, struggle with that time piece of it.
So for me, that comes down to like focus. Very often, I find that we are all trying to do too much.
Oh yeah.
And this is particularly, the smaller the business, the more of it's an issue to be like, what is your focus? What are your priorities? And what's really going to make a difference? Actually, very often what I come across is people are spending their time doing all the little itty bits, all the little menial tasks. And there's one thing that's been on that list, which is actually the thing that's going to move them forward, that's been on the list for 3 weeks. And
Yes.
it's like it's like actually I can't remember the book where it's like talks about like eat that frog, and it's like people always say do the thing first that needs to get done before you get into all the menial tasks. Work out what is either a needle moving activity, what's an income generating activity, all that type of stuff. And so I do a lot of actual like structure and schedulings with business owners through my mentoring program, particularly where I'm like, let's actually work out what your week needs to look like. How are you taking everything that's on a list and bringing it in? And also, big thing I always say about time management is you need to actually understand how long your regular tasks take you. So even for example, like if I was with you, it's like, actually, how long does it really take you to edit a podcast and upload it? Or how long does it take you to organize getting one host? Like, so often we underestimate the amount of time it takes us to do the things we like in our business. And then
Yes.
we overestimate the things that are horrible. And so actually you can't plan properly for the week because you don't really have an understanding of how long the tasks you do even take you.
So you're saying I should uh, record myself or time myself
Yeah.
and then go back and try to get a baseline and then say, okay, now this is and try to improve on that at least, or
It's
just
not necessarily it's not necessarily you having to improve, but just means then when you plan for the week ahead, you can plan properly. You can actually have accurate like blocks of time where you can fulfill that task, rather than when people don't normally get through everything they want to achieve in a week. I'm like, you set yourself up to fail because you'd put too much on your plate in the first place.
Yes, yes. So I guess we have distractors too. I know there's television, there's Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. You just gotta, I guess, have the discipline to just push that away.
I mean, I would say social media is probably the hardest thing, and I am guilty. Like, I try and practice what I preach, but social media probably is the one area where I'm like, it's hard, especially TikTok. Going on
Oh
to TikTok
yeah.
has been the worst thing that possibly could have happened to my scrolling time. It is addictive for sure. But
Mm-hmm.
again, I think it's also trying to be honest with yourself. Like, we pretend this is work. No, you just been sitting there scrolling for half an hour. Like, actually, like, what is you going on there and doing the posts you need to do and commenting and engaging and possibly doing research, and then what's just no, now you're just mindly just scrolling and it's not useful for your business and it's not a productive time. And I think all of us need to have downtime, but it's just actually not pretending that that's work. Knowing if you're going to sit down and watch TV or you're scrolling through social, like, this is actual free time, and is that the
Mm-hmm.
best way for you to use your free time? That's your choice, but know what is work and what isn't.
Mm-hmm. You think it'd be good to set time limits to be on like TikTok or Instagram?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't know what's. I guess then it's like, what's a good time? Because like you said, it's so easy to get caught up because there's a million things out there. So, yeah, I think you give me a lot of insight this quick. So I see a lot of stuff. Let me mark that off my list here. You had mentioned also in one of your posts on Instagram that you were able to triple TikTok viewers in like a short
24
amount of time.
hours.
24 hours. How?
Oh no, oh, that's a lie. I think I doubled it in 24 hours. I might have tripled it in the week. Yeah. So this was when I it was back in March. So I started properly in TikTok in January 2022. As a marketing strategist that's really proud about being a generalist. So what I say to everyone is, I do not have a favorite social media platform. You will never come to me and I'll be like, you need to do this. My thing is, I look at you, I look at what your ideal client is, and I look at what your business is, and we work out what's the most appropriate to actually use. And so I knew that TikTok was becoming increasingly important, and I was like, I can't escape this anymore. If I have a client that honestly I need to say to them, you need to use TikTok, I need to know how to use it. So I started in January. I can't remember what my schedule was in the beginning, and then I set my target of like getting to 1,000K by the end of March, and I was nowhere near that at all. And I was like going on holiday, and I literally posted this video, and I'd even written like, oh, I really hope this is the post, you know, when people wake up the next day and say, oh, look, I gained 500 followers. And that's basically what happened. I like woke up and I was like, oh my gosh, like my phone was just like, like so many comments, so many likes, so many new followers. And then it actually ended up lasting for a good week. And I think what I have got a blog post about it where I really do articulate exactly like what the video was, why I believe it worked, and all those things. But I think in terms of like, if anyone's listening and they're actually on TikTok, the thing about TikTok is normally the videos that you've like put the time in, you've edited, you think it's really clever, you think it's great, you're like, I love it. They're normally the ones that don't do that well. And then the ones that you like, I caught this on the fly and I posted that up, they're the ones that seem to take off. And the thing that is 100% true, and that what that experience really showed me, is TikTok doesn't care about the number of followers you've got. It is all based on they post it out to like 200 people in the original first hour or two, and depending on how that performs, that impacts if they keep on posting it out. And so it's all about making sure that you've got a video that actually those first 200 people that see it, they like, they comment, and they share. If they start doing that, your video can truly take off, whether you have got 1 follower or you've got 1 million.
So that's how it works. It's all about the reposting.
Not necessarily the repost, it's just about all the engagement in that first set of people that it gets pushed out to.
Okay. So if a person is not really, I don't know, camera friendly or versed in that, what can they do to improve? I mean, because you got to really do the content.
No, but there's lots of people. So I have got a bit of a like secret, like not fetish, but like obsession. That's the word, isn't it? Okay. Secret obsession with people that do budget, where they do cash envelopes. So you know how there's a cash envelope system in personal finance. So back in the day, people used to get their money when they I actually see more Americans do it than UK actually, because everyone does it with their fortnightly envelopes, and it confuses me because I don't understand how you get paid on a fortnightly basis. So like everyone have their envelopes, and they like basically like, I just got paid, and they're like, this much is for my rent, and this much is for my gas, and this much, and they put it all in. And it used to be like basic normal envelopes, but now obviously it's gone crazy now. So people have these like binders, and they're all like designed, and they've got all this writing on for the things. And then you'll see women that just have like their nails done, and so the screen, it's like a camera is looking like down onto their table, and they're like flicking through all the money, and then they're putting it all in the folders and saying, this is how much I earn, and this is how much is for each part. And they do like amazingly well, and then people sell the binders and all that, and you never see their face. I know they've got really nice nails and good hands, that is it. So and there's people that are in like, I've seen other people, they're writing stuff down. So there are ways, if you are not camera like confident, in order to be able to still make short form content. And right now I think the future is our attention spans are getting shorter. I was just reading about how like Facebook's just rechanged the feed to be more reel heavy. We already know Instagram has lost the plot, and it's all about reels. So like short form video content is going nowhere. So learning how to make it work for you and your business is really important.
So a lot of people are old school. So if your target audience, well, I guess you have to be on different platforms, because I know you can put something on TikTok. There's something you got to change a little bit for Facebook. It can be the same thing, but I'm thinking it's got to be a little different, because the demographic audience may not follow it the same.
Yeah, and I think like you need to work out where's your main place. So actually, I create like at the moment I create like 12 TikToks a week. So I do 2 Monday to Friday, 1 each day on the weekend. So 12 TikToks a week. But then I might only repost 1 of those onto my Instagram, my LinkedIn a week. So I'll choose the one that I think is either the one that I just enjoy creating, or the one that I can then put a good caption behind, because actually on Instagram and on LinkedIn, people are more likely to read the caption. And like, this video had a bigger meaning that actually on TikTok, I wasn't even able to properly express myself because I just had to make a little fun little 14-second video. Whereas on LinkedIn and on Instagram, I can put the words behind it that I really want to put. So what I always say to people is, when you're doing short form, is yes, you want to know the main platform you're making it for, and then maybe you can do a bit of repurposing. You don't want to repurpose everything, but I think that idea of like taking a video and then adding a more in-depth caption on another place really works. Sometimes I see people that are like, they might have been LinkedIn and they only have text, but then they have to put it on Instagram, they have to make a graphic with it, or they have to put a video with it, and it's just like switching around. So there's like, your message is continuing to come out, but it's not identical on every single platform.
Yeah. Now you mentioned LinkedIn. Is that new to put information on LinkedIn? I mean, I always thought LinkedIn was for jobs. Am I missing that?
Yeah, you're missing out, mate. Wow. You are missing out. I think LinkedIn is like the secret sleeping social media platform that for so long people thought it was all about jobs. Yeah. But actually there are plenty of people that are making money as a business owner on LinkedIn. I know people that their entire, and I've had clients that their whole strategy has been on LinkedIn, particularly if you have a business that is connecting with other businesses, because you can find out exactly, like, you know what people's roles are, like, you know, if they're actually like in a HR director, or they're the finance person, or they're in a, like, you can tell that. You can't tell that on like Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. Like, you could have amazing people following you, but they've got some crazy handle like Jack729. You have no idea, but you know on LinkedIn.
Yeah, wow, that's a good point. That's an excellent point, man. So I guess, so how do you kind of target it on LinkedIn? I'm fascinated now. What a video, or what do you put on there?
So you can do just normal text posts. You can do carousels in the same way you would on Instagram. You can do video. They do have a live feature, so you can do recorded or you can do live. They've actually just brought out to everyone now, it should be audio. So they like trying to catch up with like the back of Clubhouse and Twitter Spaces. So now you can actually do audio only events on LinkedIn. Like, everything is happening there. They're on it.
Okay. And you know those books back in the days you call like PowerPoint for Dummies and this and that? Do they have one of those books? I'm trying to see behind you to see if it's on there. They don't have any of those, do they? That'd be great.
I actually do have a book that's specifically LinkedIn, but I think there's also a lot of people that do. If it's just LinkedIn you want to learn, there are a lot of people that specifically teach it, because as I said, I think it's the one that naturally people haven't been drawn to use it. But depending on your business, it can be really powerful. It's been really powerful for a number of my clients as well as myself, and it's still one of the platforms where organic reach is real, in terms of, if I post something and you were following me, there's a chance that your followers that don't know me like would see it. So they're like classed as a second connection. And that organic reach means, again, it's a platform where you can start to be seen by much more people than actually following you.
I see. I like that. I know you had mentioned about quarterly planning. I know a lot of people, such as myself, who've been in corporate for a while. He's like, oh man, I don't really want to do that again. I mean, that's just painful. But you suggested that we do that?
Yeah. So actually, I think in that post, if you saw it on Instagram, I even said how small business owners basically roll their eyes at me when I say about doing quarterly planning.
Yeah.
And it's really funny because even though like I had a professional career marketing for around 10 years, it was only my last role where quarterly planning was a thing. So that was like a much bigger international company. So whereas the rest of the time, my marketing was always in performing arts. So I was predominantly in the West End doing productions, so like the equivalent of Broadway in New York.
Okay.
Quarters isn't a big thing for us because it's all about the year and we have peaks and troughs. So I don't roll my eyes about it. I actually really recommend it in terms of, again, focus. When you try and sit down and plan out your whole year, which I do with clients, so I have a strategy day that's about planning for the year. I can do it and I love it. Like, I will plan a year. Most people are like, oh my gosh, I cannot. It's just too much to chew. It's too much to bite. So I try and say to people, like, set your big goals for the year. That's important. But then do either a quarterly, 90 day, 12 weeks, all basically ends up being about the same. Choose your goals, which are aligned and will obviously take you closer to your annual goal, but then make a plan. And so actually, I literally was doing this morning with a client in terms of, I will sit down and be like, what is maybe like the 3 priorities for this quarter, and then what do you need to be doing, and like actual milestones. So I'm like, on week 4 it means like this will be done, and then by week 7 it's this, and I actually like will put it out in an Excel spreadsheet so I can see week by week what we're meant to be doing, how you're moving forward. And 12 weeks means you can get detailed in the planning, and it also means it's not too long to stay focused. Like trying to keep momentum up for a whole year is long. 12 weeks, most people can keep that going. Like if you turned around and said, I want to launch something, like I got a new service, I want to launch that. Like you can sit down and focus and create the curriculum and do the program and get the tech software and get it set up and launch that in 12 weeks. But if I left that for 6 months, you'd be like, I'm bored now, Charelle. I'm over it.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. I think Elon Musk had actually said if you give someone 6 months to do something, they'll take 6 months to do it. But if you give that same person 3 weeks to do it, they'll get it done in 3 weeks. So I do see the advantages of planning now. So you made that succinct. So I can appreciate that as well. Wow, that's a good way of looking at it. Yeah, I see I'm doing a lot of stuff wrong here. What else?
You're not doing lots of stuff wrong though. You're not doing lots of stuff wrong. It's just actually what I find is, like you said, if you had a corporate career, you sort of like automatically want to do the reverse. Like a lot of people, if they've left a corporate job to be their own boss, then they're like, I want to be free. I want to be free. Yes. And therefore you sort of throw out all the structure that you might have learned from a corporate role. And my thing is actually, I believe to actually have more freedom in your life, structure in your business is good, because that will keep you being able to work as little as possible, keep it contained, and then have the time to live your life how you want to be living it.
Okay. I was going to ask you, I just remembered another point you had made about burnout. How do we avoid the burnout? Is it planning? Is that part of it too? Or
I mean, yeah, planning is definitely part of it in terms of not taking on more than is realistic. So I think for me, when people really get to a point of burnout, one, I definitely believe a lot of business owners don't take enough holiday. I think if you're running a business as a solopreneur, particularly, you're like, I'll take some time off in a few weeks. And then obviously your diary gets filled up. And so when I do my annual planning with people, the first thing I ask is, when are we going to block out your holidays? And I actually make them block it out from the beginning of the year and like block out their calendar. So like no one can book in if you've got like a Calendly or a QE or whatever. I'm like, tell all your clients, do all that stuff straight away so that you are getting proper breaks throughout the year. Because otherwise, if you always think it's going to happen that next month, something's always going to drop in your diary that's going to stop it from happening, and you're always going to have an excuse not to. So that's definitely, like, from a planning perspective, like that thing I think is really important. But also I think it's about having a real appreciation of what is actually physically possible for you, and really ensuring that in a season of work, it is a season. So I'm not one of these people that has a thing against hustle. Like I know online people are like anti-hustle. I don't mind hustle, but what you've got to realize is that can only last for a certain period of time. And so I'm like, even if we look at the year and being like, there's certain times of the year where I'm like, I will work. Like in winter, I'm happy to work because I basically say like, it's rain. I live in England. It's raining. It is grey. It is horrible. So I'm like, there's certain months where I'm like, I'm happy to work because I will work really hard now. And then I know other times of the year, I like pull back and I relax, and that's where I have a bit more fun. And so it's like, I even say like looking up like the year and being just like honest about how it, like, what are seasons of work, what are seasons of play, and how does that work? So I think it is about really like being in control of your time and just being realistic about what you can achieve, rather than just being like, I'm trying to do 75 things, I'm just going to work every single day until they like happen. And again, another part of it is about like efficiency and effectiveness. Like actually sometimes it's about simplifying and about not trying to do everything, and particularly for me in my role where I like will do marketing with people, I think you're trying to do so much that you're not making a dent anywhere, and that's why you're going to lead to burnout.
Yeah, you're right. Especially because like you've been a CEO, the social media person and all that. It's almost like you need an intern or something like that. So wow. So how long have you been doing this again? How long have you been?
So I've had my business since 2018, and I went full time in it in 2020. So it's 2 years of good fun times.
so was it kind of overwhelming to you? How did you know you were ready?
So I would say I never knew I was ready. As I said before, I was working in London, West End Productions, marketing. I loved it. I'm definitely not one of these people that has a corporate career background that they hated. And people kept on asking me, like, when I was in my business, like, are you not going to leave? You're not going to give up? And I was like, I live the dream right now. I was like, I have a job I really like that gives me good money and a really good actual like social network and experiences. And then I get to work with amazing solopreneurs on the side and get to do like go to events and like meet new people and do all these things. I was like, I'm very happy. But obviously theaters, like just like in Broadway, all the West End got shut down. I lost my job. And that was then a conscious decision to be like, I said, I basically never would have left theatre, but I was like, the government shut the theatres. So I was like, this is the universe being like, you would never walk away, but we've shut it now. Like, that's not like, this is like your permission slip to be like, it's time to move on to the next chapter. So yeah, so I always, but I like to share it because I think there was definitely some people that see that thing about like taking the leap, and people be like really push people and they say like, you've got to give it up now, you've got to move on. I'm like, it's different for everyone. And I think depending on where your life's at, depending on your financial responsibilities, and depending on you as a person, like this, I really see it when I take on brand new, fresh clients where I say, some people, if they have no money and they have got to make the bills this month, they are going to sell because they're that type of like driven, what I class as like that sort of traditional salesperson. Some people, that is the worst thing you could possibly do to them, because then they just panic and that puts them into a state of that they can't sell, they can't create, they can't market themselves with like any like energy, enthusiasm, openness, like because they're just in a scarcity mindset of like, oh my God, I'm not going to make the bills this month. And I'm like, even that awareness of understanding like what is going to help you to be the best in your business will help you understand when's the best time to take the leap.
Yeah. So what was the last piece of content that you created?
So I had a blog went out this morning. So I post a blog every single Wednesday. So I've had my blogs literally since 2018.
Yeah.
And that's my like backbone of my business in terms of every week, every Wednesday, new blog post.
What are you getting that inspiration from your blog? What did you? How do you keep it fresh?
So that's quite a fun one because I don't actually believe you have to keep it fresh. And I think, I think people keep themselves on a content creation hamster wheel.
Yes.
By feeling the pressure that it needs to always be fresh. Actually, depending on what you are, like your area is, you actually probably should only have a few things that you are talking about, because that is core to the services you are actually providing. So like one of my things is like content is a big thing. So I've had a YouTube channel, a blog post, I've had a podcast, and I've created social media on everything, and I've had an email list for years. So I talk a lot about content and content planning, and I'm like having pillars of like, these are the things I talk about. That's what I talk about. And it might be that today it's a reel and tomorrow it's a blog post and the next day it's an email, and I might have got like a different quote or something else inspired it, but that is a lot. Like I have a service which is based around helping you to create your content. So, and I talk about content planning. They're the things I talk about over and over again. Like, actually, you don't need to be keeping on like reinventing the wheel in terms of like bringing more and more, because actually that's when I find that people are diluting it and it's not connecting to actually what they're selling. Because that's the thing, is your content should be really just naturally leading onto your services.
Okay, so keep it real. Okay. What about being an expert? Do you need to be an expert in the field that you're in? You have to know everything about it, or can you just jump in there feet first and get going?
So you don't need to know everything. That's one thing I definitely would say. I think there are, like, when we look at like brand archetypes, there's different types of brands that the way people position themselves. So there are some people that come in as like they are the expert, and like you might be like a sage personality, but these people like follow the wisdom, they know it all, and they're sharing it. But then there are other types of personalities and archetypes that very much are like, I am on the journey, I am learning stuff, and I am sharing that with you. And like that was how I started in terms of like my personal development blog, and with all the book side of it, it very much was like, I am going to be reading these books, and I'm like, I'm going to read them, and then I'm going to discuss them with you, and then I'm going to blog about them, and I'm going to do a YouTube channel about them. And it was very clear that I was not an expert. This was me as part of my journey. So I think it's about knowing what level of expertise you generally are at, and then building your business in that right way. So I see people on both sides of the coin. I see people that have probably had a background in it from a professional setting, and then they've moved into a business. They're like, I am an expert, these are the things I do, and then there's other people that are like, I've had like this epiphany, this is what I'm passionate about, I'm going to keep learning. And as long as they're 2 steps ahead of the people that they're selling a service to, it works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I guess being a non-expert, because, I guess maybe the mindset of many people is I have to be an expert, or this person has to know more than me. How do you price that? How do I sell my service with with my level? Can I compete with the big dogs? Because again, I'm just on the journey learning.
Well, the thing is, you will attract a different type of person to someone who is more of an expert. That's what I normally think is a range. That's why there's this thing about in terms of where someone is in the journey. So obviously, like in my space, in terms of like business and marketing, I'm like, there will be someone who is going to be quite fresh. They've just done a few things, and they're going to teach someone that hasn't got a business yet. Mm-hmm. Whereas there'll be someone that's further up that's like, well, I've made this much this year, so I'm teaching someone that's a little bit further down. And I think that's the thing is and I always say to people, actually, like, I think it's a really good thing to know someone that is a little bit behind you, because also then if you get clients that come to you and then they're like, you're too expensive, I'm like, that's fine. You can get someone that's less experienced than me. Like, I know people that will help you and they are cheaper, but they aren't as good as me. And here's their names and here's their things like wow. That. For me, I'm all for that, because the fact is, I believe there is a client for every single price point and level of expertise.
I can respect that. I like that too, because you have to be willing to be honest with them. I mean, because they'll figure it out if you can't meet their expectations. And I was going to ask you, so you don't take everybody, right? You will say, hey, this may not be for you. I'm not for everybody type thing. So yeah, I can respect that.
Especially with like my one-on-one mentoring is a 6-month program. So I'm like, I have a call with every single person that wants to apply. And I'm like, I know that you're going to be able to talk to me every single day for 6 months. I need to make sure that I love your business as much as I love mine. And yeah, I think the more honest we can be about the actual clients we take on, like one of my things is about being fully booked with dream clients. Like, I had agency life before. I had a few clients I didn't like. So I made a conscious decision when I made this business that I was like, fully booked with dream clients. Like, that's what we want. We want clients that you are excited to go up, excited to work with, or like getting great results or giving you lots of joy. That's how you have a joyful business. Yeah. When we're fully booked and then we don't really like half our clients and we're like, oh, like, then you might as well just have a job.
Mm-hmm. Yes. What about friends and family? Are they supportive of you? And did they necessarily believe in you when you first started?
Oh no, I mean, most of my friends and family don't even understand what I do half the time. Like, when people are like, I literally had a friend's husband last week that was like, I'm just going to ask you one more time. Like, what do you do? And I was like, was it Chandler and Friends, when everyone's like, no one has a clue what he actually does? I was like, yeah, that's how I feel. Yeah. I think I have a very few supportive friends actually from like my previous work days that are really supportive and are like always like really cheering me on. But the most supportive people I found have been online. Like, I have been amazingly good at actually just going online, connecting with people, talking with them. Like, actually the person I class is like my business bestie was like someone I met at an event, and then we like started chatting online, and then we've met in person. And like, I'm that type of person, rather than being like my friends and my family. I was quite like, you live in a different world and you're doing what you want. It's cool. I will find my people.
Yes. Okay. You had mentioned earlier about the weather over there in England, and you said in the winter it rains a lot. Do you guys don't get a lot of snow over there?
No, we just get gray. It's gray. Like, we're in July and it's gray right now. We just get about 10 months of gray and rain, and it will snow once if we're lucky. We have one or 2 days a year it snows, and then we have like a heat wave last 2 days.
Am I to understand you like snow? Is that a good thing?
Yeah, I like snow. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. No. Yeah, I live in the middle of the United States, like right where it snows a lot. If I never see another snowflake again, I'm good. Okay. All right, Charelle. Let me move on to this second final spot of the show before we go ahead and go. Just called Get to Know You. I just asked you a few random questions, see where your head's at on this. Okay, first one. What do you think is some of the difference between our two countries, if anything?
Americans are more confident. They promote themselves better.
You think
They
so?
invest. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. How do you guys see us as far as like the political scene? Are we
Oh,
crazy?
I mean,
We crazy, you guys? Because I always wonder what it looks like looking in.
I mean, I would probably say like I'm the least informed person on politics in the world, but I do think you're crazy. But I also think most of the world is probably a bit crazy right now. So,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, yeah. I don't get involved in politics at all. I think it's beyond me. But I only see it over here from what we see. Because I was like, man, I know people in other countries. I think these people over here. Boy, whew. Um, let me see. How do you guys greet each other over there? Is it the same like how are you doing or you okay or what's happening? And I don't because
I
we
don't know. Oh, well, so this is a I can give you some real colloquialism. So
maybe
where I'm in Nottingham, it's got its own little thing where we say "a up" or "a up me duck." That's how we say hello.
say it again.
A up is like what like a younger person would say, and an
Hey yo.
older person in Nottingham would say "a up me duck."
Wow. So I'm gonna use that when I come over there. Make sure I got it. Hope it's still in.
But
Okay.
that's like a real like that's a real like Nottingham thing. Literally, I was on a walk just before this thing, and this guy probably said "me duck" to me about 6 times in about 2 sentences. So it is a
Ah,
real thing. But
yes.
no, I think we just normally say like I think I would say like hi, how are you? Like yeah, there's not I can't think of a typical British way of saying it if that makes sense.
Okay. Now,
Yeah.
do I have an accent to you?
Yes, of course.
Do can you tell yours? Because I mean, yours is like it's like I hear in the movies. So I don't.
So I always know. So I had a YouTube channel for years, and every now and again I'll get some comment that's like, "I love your accent," and I'll be like, "Are you American?" Like literally every single time I get that comment, I'm like, "Are you American?" I'm like, "Yeah, I have an accent, even like for British people." Like, so I lived in London for 10 years, and even there, like everyone can because the actual UK has different accents across it. So
Mhm,
people, I know fully well I've got an accent, but I think what an American hears is different to what a British person hears in terms of the accent.
probably so.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is Idris Elbus from over there?
Yes, he is.
Because he can change it. He can turn it off. I'm like, how does he do that? I'm
He's an
amazed.
actor.
Yes. Yeah, wow. It's just that's control. Because man, I heard him talking when I was like, hey, when did he get that accent? What's going on with that? But now I see he can do it. You had also mentioned holidays. I don't think we have the same holidays, do we? I mean, you guys have,
No, we
yeah.
have different bank holidays. I think the one does align though. I think when's your Memorial Weekend? It's in May, isn't it? Is it the beginning or the end?
I believe it is. I
Yeah,
don't
so
even, yeah.
yeah, that one lines up because a few years ago I went to Miami when it was our bank holiday. It was Memorial Weekend over there. But yeah, other than that, it's all totally different holidays, which is always quite an interesting one when you've got a mixed audience online. I always say to people because some of my content I will like mention things, but I'm like, I know this is going to apply to the British people and not the Americans. And it's like they're on holiday when you're not on holiday, and like even like with booking in work and stuff, it's like that and time zones. Time zones are like, oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, yeah. Because it's like it's almost 11 here now, and it's probably almost 4 where you're at.
Yeah. And I
Yes.
have clients in the LA, so then that's even like more, they're more hours behind me. And then there's like sunset time or like summertime, and it all changes and we don't change on the same week. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't deal with this.
Yeah, yeah. So you get to the States often?
No. I don't, I do all it online. So my clients, so I've got a few clients in the US, but we just Zoom.
Okay. You had mentioned you went to Miami before. I thought maybe you had just visited other places. So just Miami's the only place you pretty came
No,
here.
that was my one. Yeah,
Oh,
that's my
okay.
only trip.
Oh man, you'll like it because when we talk about accents in America, if you're in Texas, they have a slower accent. New York is more, it's amazing. It's just amazing up here. Let me give you two more of these questions. If you could live anywhere in the world, besides where you live now, what would you go to?
It's a difficult one because I'm torn between like, would I go to LA, just live sunshine every single day? Like,
It's expensive. Gotta
I
have
know,
it.
but it's sunny, and like that's the for me like a sunny dream just seems like amazing. But for years I wanted to go to New York, just in terms of like having lived in London, that's like the next best place to go is New York. Everyone's like, go to New York, you live the best life. But I actually don't think it would live up to the hype in reality, if that makes sense.
Oh man, I've been to New York a couple times. For me, it's it's East Coast versus West Coast. At LA, it's more, hey, laid back, let's do it, whatever, everything goes. In New York, it's like, why are you looking at me? You want to fight? You want a problem? Gotta be ready there. So it's like two extremes, you know. And do your police officers over there carry guns?
No,
That is a then what? Wow. So crime must be probably lower than there than here. I'm thinking.
I have no idea about the crime uh
No
stats.
guns at all. Does he just walk around in a blue outfit and that's it? Wow. Okay. All right. Man, if that's working over there. All right. And the last question on this is, what would you like to see your business go in the next 5 years? What would you like to do?
So my aim is to like keep growing my presence on an international level and get into doing like live events. I think there's something really, I'm a
Yeah.
massive extrovert. I think there's something really special about meeting people in person. And I think that would be like to do like speaking gigs and like conferences that are like lots of impacting lots of entrepreneurs all at the same time. Like that's the dream.
You said you're an introvert.
No, I said I'm extrovert.
Oh, I was going to say, don't see that happen. Okay. You know, I'm thinking about this too. What do you wish you would have known in the beginning that you now know when you first started doing this? Was there something that like could have saved you a whole lot of time? You seem so knowledgeable and together. I don't know if you could have.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what would have made it. I'm actually probably focusing on less. So the one thing I
Oh,
would say was because I come from a like bigger businesses, part of a team, marketing team, I definitely had some expectations of what I thought. And I was aiming at big names. So like I was looking at what people like. I remember like Amy Porterfield was one of the big podcasts I listened to when I first started.
mhm.
And because she blogged every week and she like sent out like this and that, I was like, well, that's what you're meant to do. And I
Yeah.
think I set the bar really high and I was like trying to be on every social media platform and I had multiple services. And actually the more I've simplified, I've like taken stuff away, the more I've concentrated on fewer areas, I've done better. So I think if I was to go back in time and just be like, let's just do one social media platform, have your email list, and then just have the blog and just like channel everything into it. And it could mean it's all your eggs in one basket and it totally flops. But if you get traction, you'd definitely like rock it quicker.
Definitely. What were your parents like? Are you more like your mother or more like your father?
Well, I think I am a mix in
Uh-huh.
terms of like my mum was like quite like smart and intelligent, and we always say like I get my brains from her, but and like probably like my risk averseness I get from my mum. But like there's definitely parts of my dad. I'm a very what do you call it? A proper mixture of them both. Let's say
Okay.
that.
Okay. Well, wonderful. Well, you know what? I really appreciate you taking this time out to share this information. I mean, I definitely learned so much from you. But can you share again with the listeners where your social media footprints can be found again?
Yeah, that's fine. So my name is Charelle Griffith. I'm assuming you're going to put that in the show notes so that everyone can actually spell it.
Yes. Yep.
And so my website is charellegriffith.com. As I mentioned, I've got an award-winning blog. So if you want to actually learn how to improve your marketing, grow your business, go check that out. And then my name on social, whether that's Instagram or TikTok or LinkedIn, is just Charelle Griffith. Just I'm very lucky. It's not a name that someone else had taken, so I get to have it in perfect form.
Yes. And is there anything else you want to leave the audience with to remind them again about what you do?
So basically, I really specialize in if you are running a business by yourself
Hmm.
and you are providing a service and you want to get fully booked with dream clients and then maybe even scale your business. That's what I help people do. My main two things are I do a strategy day with people. So literally in one day, you can get your marketing plan all done, created from me, or you can work with me for 6 whole months and get this voice in your